Welcome to Inside Design with Kandrac Kole. This podcast is a conversation between two business partners, Joanne Kandrac and Kelly Kole. Join us for a lively conversation about all things interior design, from current projects, trade show experiences, worldwide travel, what's in, what's out, and all the challenges and wins they've had running their successful design business. Whether you're a seasoned interior designer, new to the industry, or a creative enthusiast, you will walk away with insightful information, newfound inspiration, and a smile on your face after listening to these two. And here they are, Joanne and Kelly.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is episode 155 of Inside Design with Kandrac Kole, and today we are talking about our recent trip to Marrakech, Morocco. So, we shared in episode 151, Why We Travel, that we truly believe that travel is an investment in our souls, in our spiritual journeys, our views of the world and other cultures, and most importantly, an education in design. And that this trip truly was. And so thanks to our travel agent, Kelly O'Shea of Wanderlust Travel Consultants, and our colleagues at House of Nomad.
And we talked to Kelly on episode 151.
Yes.
All about travel, if you want to go back to that one.
Yep. We were able to curate a trip that was completely seamless. No hiccups, no drama, no worries. It was beautiful. And so we want to bring you along on our magic mystery tour.
Yes. But before that, we want to let you know that this episode is sponsored by Norwalk Furniture. They are one of our go-to manufacturers, and as we've mentioned, the most comfortable seating that we have ever used.
Yes.
It makes perfect sense that Norwalk is our sponsor because of the main reasons we were drawn to Norwalk is their beautiful and colorful fabric. The inspiration for the colors offered by Norwalk is inspired by world travel. Caroline Hipple is the president of Norwalk Furniture and her chief creative officer, Dixon Bartlett. They have traveled the world to find the best in textiles, trends, construction, and colors so that they can bring them home and make sure their dealers and designers have the best options available for their clients. Yep. Norwalk has a stunning website with a 360 design tool that helps you to visualize the pieces. So they are also now shipping in 8 weeks. So we're kind of getting back to normal. So that's very exciting.
Who would have thunk it?
Check them out, norwalkfurniture.com.
Yeah. So where's Marrakech? If you are like, where'd they go? I don't get it. So Marrakech is a very, very old city founded in 1070, and it's on the northern tip of Africa. So we spent the majority of our time in the Medina, which is the historical city, as opposed to the more modern district of Gilis. So we had fun. Our cute riad was in the Medina.
So a riad is the difference between a hotel and a riad is what used to be a former home that's been turned into a hotel. So we stayed at the El-Fen. It's el-fenn.com. It's a boutique hotel, which was once a riad, like a home that they turned into. It has 42 rooms. Each one is designed completely differently. We discovered once we were there that this hotel is owned by Vanessa Branson, Richard Branson's sister, and her friend, Hal James, who took the dilapidated riad and made it in what it is today. You've got to go to the website and check it out.
Check out the website and really go through it all.
Yes. Architectural Digest called this hotel Instagram Gold. I have to agree.
Yes.
And it was just, can't explain it. It's the art. When El-Fen opened in 2004, Vanessa Branson brought pieces from her own private collection to hang in the hotel, and today contemporary artists fill the walls and rolling exhibitions are shown several times a year.
It was, how do you describe it? When you stay at a riad turned hotel, now they ended up, over the years, they've expanded and they kind of bought the surrounding little riads. So I think in all they took over 13 of them and made them all
connected them.
But it's like the rooms, our ceilings in our personal room were 15 feet at least.
So it feels
maybe more
very grand, but comfortable still at the
Yes.
same time. The light, like they have a beautiful courtyard, and the light that comes through that, and of course all of the tile and the door openings, and they just had some quirky things. The turtles,
Very quirky turtles that kind of roamed the salons. But we want to really infuse in this episode the design lessons that we learned every step of the way. And we talk a lot about, and we'll talk a lot about the hotels that we visited for lunch and dinner, and the design education that we got from each one. But just even in this cute little boutique riad, the walls in our hotel room were upholstered in red leather. I mean, what? And then our beds were a mix of white, perfectly white, luxurious sheeting with navy blue embroidered throws at the end of the bed. And our friend Jen's room was deep, deep turquoise mixed with dark woods and old stone. And Pamela's room was all in kind of a blushy color wash, kind of a terracotta Venetian plaster almost on her walls.
And a lot of them had that beautiful lighting, beautiful artwork, the tile work. I mean, I think that our bathroom I think there was very little wall. It was mostly tile.
It was mostly tile. Yes. And I think that's one thing we saw throughout Marrakech was tile, floor to ceiling, floor to rooftop, full walls, tabletops, bathroom walls, everything in tile, everything in stone. And I'm thinking, why don't we have so much sheetrock here at home.
We're doing it more though. We are doing it more.
I
do notice, like, if I go into a public bathroom, a lot of times the tile is in the stalls and does go to the top, because I think it's low maintenance.
Totally.
Like, once it's tiled, you're kind of done.
Yeah.
So I am seeing it more, but it's not quite the same.
It's not the same. And the bold, brave colors and the mix of rugs. There were, you would have like a green and white parquet tile floor mixed with, Russ is showing great pictures on the screen if you're watching us on YouTube, but mixed with all these colorful Moroccan rugs. And I think a lot of, people might look at that and go, oh, but it doesn't match, or that's too busy, or it doesn't go. But
all the more interesting. Like,
exactly.
the colors are just the way they're mixed together. It all works.
Yeah. So Russ is showing the rooms on the screen, and I just have no words. Like, it's just unique. So anyway,
every corner we turned. I mean, I was snapping photographs like crazy, and I was doing them really quickly, but they came out and they looked like they were, that you had prepared for this photo shoot for hours to get it to look to that perfect lighting and and every photo was just beautiful.
And of course, we went with our friend Pamela Copeman, who's an artist, designer turned artist in Boston, and my great friend and college roommate, Jen Bastian, who's a huge design enthusiast. And we were so full of personality, our little tribe. We made friends wherever we went, big friends. So we got a shout out to Basma and Kasim and everybody at Elfen Restaurant. Hotel, who we just became really close with. Yeah.
And thank God for Habib, who was our guide.
We love you, Habib.
Yes. Habib was, we were introduced to Habib by Kelly and Berkeley of House of Nomad. And if you don't follow them, check them out. They do some beautiful work. They travel globally to find things they have 2 stores, one in Charleston and one in Charlotte. And they do beautiful design. And so they go to Marrakech quite a bit for their store. And so when we reached out to them, they told us about Habib, and I think it made all the difference in the world.
It wouldn't have been the same trip.
And we'll talk about some of the places that he took us that we would have never known.
Nope. So Habib was really great about really encouraging us not to fall into all the tourist traps, because we were like, we've got to go to Yves Saint Laurent Gardens and we've got to do this. And he was like, let me take you someplace a little more special. And he's has a huge design eye. And so we started out at Anima Gardens. Check it out. ANIMA Gardens. And they are it's a botanical garden on 5 acres that was taken from flat barren land and transformed formed by the famed Universal designer Andre Heller. And it was mystical and spiritual and magical and colorful and filled with sculpture. And
you could walk around there for the entire day.
yes,
Because there was so much to look at and see. But to think this place, they showed the land in 2010, it was flat. It had nothing. And what they've turned it into, it's just, yeah, I would have never known to go there.
Right. And it wasn't crowded, and it was peaceful. It was magical. Yeah. It was a nice mix. We did a lot. We did a big mix of things.
When we talk about inspiration, this is one of the things for exterior.
Yes.
Like some of the things that they did in the gardens, and some of the things they mixed and added. There were some colorful things. They added some art to the trees that you wouldn't think to do, but it was very well done. It was really neat.
Yes. So we spent a good bit of time, and I'm probably not going to say it right, but it was Ben Usef Madrasa. And this was once the largest Islamic college in Morocco. It was founded, get this, in the 14th century. Just let's think about that for just a quick 14th century. And now it's a historic site for the public. And it is one of the finest buildings in Morocco. And I have no words.
Yeah. Once again, the photos just of the tile and the door openings. The architecture was so interesting. Everywhere you walked, everywhere you looked, it was a feast for the eyes. I mean, I that's all I can really say about Marrakech. It's like everywhere you look, you want to take a picture of it.
The buildings were a mix of tile, stone, and a lot of the stone is very intricately carved. It's more like, I guess you would maybe say it's plaster.
Yeah, I was going to say it's kind of plastery
because
looking,
it's carved into designs. And the tile work at this college was a lot of calligraphy, and we saw a lot of Arabic calligraphy in Marrakech. So Habib was reading the walls to us, literally, of poems or prayers or the things that Russ is showing more pictures. So the tile mixed with the very intricately, finely carved plaster mixed with wood that again was carved, these layers as you kind of crept up the building.
Opulent, like grand,
yes,
beautiful,
yes. But inside, when you kind of go inside, there was all these little baby rooms that were once the study rooms or the bedrooms of the students that I think the college at one time had 900 students and maybe 132 rooms or something. And so now they're all empty, but you can go in them and look out the windows and kind of look down. And every doorway, they must have been little people, because the doorways are
small,
short and beautiful. I'll never look at doorways again the same.
I know.
I come home and I'm like, why are all our doorways square?
And it was kind of like in a U shape. So there were people, there was this cute little older lady, and she was looking outside, but across the way was her family taking a picture of her in this beautiful doorway. So photo ops, beyond.
Yes. Well, we would have never gone there if it wasn't, again, for Habib. I mean, maybe we would have if you'd done your research, but we really went to a mix of museum, garden, university education, kind of restaurants, hotels. And that was a really good mix from a design learning perspective, for sure.
But he did take us to, it's called Caravan by Habitis Agafe. So this is a desert camp brought by Richard Branson. Okay. So what it is, it's an immersive experience. It's in the desert. It's about 45 minutes from downtown Marrakech. So the lodging, it's a mix of tents and lodges that offer glamping and pure luxury.
Yeah.
You can go there for yoga retreats, camel trekking, as you can see there, moon gazing, self-exploration, or music events. And we had dinner there, and it was just getting dark.
Yes.
And by the time we finished our dinner, we walked outside, and the stars were incredible.
It was, I definitely want to go back there. It was another spiritual experience. The being out in the middle of nowhere, but having it be like this like literally this like pod of luxury where they've got, again, pools. And I'm thinking, how did they get all the electricity and the plumbing all the way out here? But I definitely want to check out. We didn't have time to check out all the rooms and see the differences between, they had some, I think they call them explorer tents. So if you wanted to be a little bit more, down to earth, and then they had them, they kind of got glampier and a little more luxury as you kind of went along. You can choose where you stay, but I want to go for a yoga retreat.
Well,
I'm going for a yoga retreat.
It's only been there for 4 months. And there are other ones.
opened,
Richard Branson has opened other ones. There's maybe 4 other locations. I can't remember where they are right now. But if you want to check it out, it's a little long. It's www.rhabitas, HABITAS.com, and then /caravan -agafe, AGAFAY /gallery.
If you want to see the pictures, go to the gallery.
Yep.
But again, the people were so nice everywhere we went.
Genuinely
afraid,
nice.
Like, does this country like Americans? Like, what's our reputation here? What are they going to be like? What do people speak English? I can say that English was everywhere, maybe very broken, but whatever. It was enough to get by, and that was very appreciated. And
the other thing,
we made friends everywhere we went.
The other thing that we didn't realize was there's a major French influence there.
Oh, huge.
So a lot of French speaking people, a lot of the, the food, like at breakfast, there were croissants, like, so it did lend itself to the French, which was interesting.
French and Arabic are the 2 main languages that are spoken there. And I'd say it felt like it was almost 50-50, maybe even more French in many instances. Yeah. So just check that out. That was so great. And a shout out to Hind, who's the manager there, who actually used to work at El Fen, and then she went to Habitas, and she was a wonderful hostess for us.
Yeah.
So another really special place that we went to, and you may have heard of it because it's very famous, but La Mamounia Palace. It's a hotel, but back in the 18th century, I'm going to give you a little history lesson because it's so cool. The Sultan at the time, Mohammed bin Abdallah, gave 32 acres of beautiful gardens to his son as a wedding gift, and his son used it to have all these lavish garden parties. And so 2 centuries later, the Moroccan Railway Company decides to build a hotel on the site. And so the architecture is really a mix of East meets West, traditional Moroccan interiors, but also a lot of Art Deco. And this is where you may have heard that Winston Churchill would take up residence in the winter here to revitalize himself. And then in the 50s and 60s, it became the Hollywood playground for the elite, and then followed by the permanent residence of Yves Saint Laurent and the vacation spot for the Rolling Stones and Paul McCartney in the 70s. So as the decades have passed, La Mamounia has really become a favorite of many famous people, and that's kind of how the name's gotten around. But we went for dinner, and security was everywhere. They wouldn't let us take a lot of pictures, so check out the website to see some really great pictures. But it was opulent again.
Yeah,
it was. Every detail, back to the languages. When we are dealing with, hosts and hostesses and waiters and their taxi cab drivers, these people are speaking 3, 4, 5, 6 languages.
Yeah, we met a lot of people that speak more than one language.
I mean,
and it's
our taxi cab driver in Lisbon that we're going to talk about our next show spoke 5 languages. I mean, he was so interesting. Our tour guide, Rui, he spoke 6. I mean, it
made us feel like, wow, we can speak one language.
Right.
And I think he said something, I think it was Habib that said it.
Yes.
For every language that you know, you open yourself up to a whole new set of, or
a whole new world.
The whole new world, the culture. And when there's only certain things that you can say in certain languages
Mhm.
that people can really understand you. Once you get past all the surface stuff,
Mhm.
if you want to get into deeper conversation, you have to be bilingual if you really want to take
Yes.
advantage of, the culture and the people and the relationships that you have with
Yes.
people while speaking.
Yeah, it's on my goal list that we talked about in a few episodes back, to get my Spanish to be really fluent, and now I'm even more dedicated.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that hotel, I mean, you got to go check it out Yep.
Another hotel, the
Yes.
Royal Mansour.
Yes.
This palace hotel is owned by King Mohammed VI himself.
Yep.
Was built in 2010 and
Mhm.
handcrafted by over 1,500 artisans with a limitless budget. Okay.
Just think about that. Just think about a hotel in America with 1,500 artisans adding their craft specifically.
I mean,
it wouldn't happen.
It's a palace.
It is a palace.
It's a palace.
Yeah.
So what's crazy is the staff navigates tunnels underneath the property so as not to be seen by the guests. They have 53 riads. So think about that. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
3 floors. So guests not only have living rooms and bedrooms, but also rooftops.
Yep. So I think they have rooms, suites, and then they have the 53 riads. Habib had worked with the manager, at the concierge, and she was going to give us a tour of some of the riads, and the day got away with us, and we ran out of time, and I'm very sad about that. But we'll go back and do it.
What's crazy about this? When we got back, my Atlanta Homes and Lifestyles magazine was sitting there, and I thought, okay, let me go. It's been sitting there. I need to read it. And as I'm looking through, I wish I could remember who the designer was, but there was a space in Alice Beach, and the designer said that they were inspired by Greece and the Royal Mansour Hotel in Morocco
for the design of this home.
And
we're like, yeah, you know that place. We had lunch there.
You could kind of see. You could see some tile. You could see some doorways that were very interesting. So,
but if you go to our Instagram at Kandrac Kole and you look down at all of our highlight reels or the little circles, and you'll see one that says Marrakech, and we saved all of our photos from our Instagram stories from the 5 days that we were there on here, so you can go back and see them all. But you will see a lot of pictures from the Royal Mansour, and you'll see there's one in particular where the black and white tile goes halfway up the wall maybe, and then like around a pillar, and then they've got these beautiful organza silk white panels that kind of come down literally like 30 pleats in the panel, and is joined by a tie back that is a huge circle made out of, it looked like abalone or something. It was stunning. Even we were in the bathroom staring at the walls, and the again, more calligraphy carved in marble, and again, tile everywhere.
I can honestly say we don't have anything that I've ever seen like this in the States.
No.
That's what's the beauty of going to somewhere like that. I mean, we knew we were going to see some great things and some different things, but those two, I mean, there are certain places that you just are like, I could never have imagined this. I could never have imagined this.
The one thing that struck me at the Royal Mansour, and you'll see this in a lot of our Instagram photos that we posted, and we're going to post some more, are the doorways. And the doorways weren't just kind of like the typical Moroccan, shape. And they weren't just, rounded. They were intricately, you can see some on the screen that Russ is showing, intricately carved and layered, and plaster and stone and tile all mixed together. And you come home and you're like, that's a 2-panel rectangular.
It makes our trim look like nothing.
Yeah. And then you look at white. I'm looking around in our studio, and it's very pretty, but I'm like, look at all that white sheetrock. Like, oh, it just really makes you think. And we've said this on our Instagram, but if you really want a lesson in design, wherever you are on vacation, wherever town you're in, find the nicest hotel. You don't have to stay there. Walk through, have a coffee, sit in the lobby, and look around and go into the bathrooms and go into the restaurant and pay attention to the floors and the walls and the ceilings, the light fixtures. It's a lesson. It's an education.
It's a great education.
Yeah. We walked a lot, and so we did go to the La Sultana, Sultana spa. We were going to have a hammam, which is traditional in Marrakech, where you go and you have a full body exfoliation and bath. So you are naked. And we were totally going to jump in and do it. The spa was busy that day, so we ended up having massages instead, which I will say they did massage in places that normally in America they don't massage. But anyway, it was lovely. It was lovely. Yes.
And then, of course, you can't talk about Marrakech without talking about the Medina, which is it's a labyrinth.
Really. It is.
Winding alleys, colorful souks meaning shops. They haven't changed much at all in the hundreds of years since it was built. It has over 13,000 shops. Is the largest marketplace in Africa. So what was so amazing to see is as you're walking through, now it's crazy when you're there. As you're walking, it's not super wide.
No,
there's motorcycles passing you. There's people with donkeys carrying stuff. But then as you go into these little alleyways and whatever, you'll go to a stall and there's a guy cutting leather and sewing it. Another guy's working on ironwork. Another guy's hand making the shoes. So it's just beautiful to watch. I mean, amidst the craziness, but you can find just about anything there. And we went to a place that Habib took us, that he knew the guys there to look at some shoes. And of course, they were all amazing. But if you didn't have your size, they would go ahead and measure your foot, and then they would go ahead and just make it for you and fix it for you. So that was really fun. I mean, going through and seeing all of the spices, because that's a lot of times what you see when people talk about Marrakech is all of the spices and the colors, and just it's like the grungy with the beautiful,
I remember the very first time I went to Guatemala and I worked in the villages, and I'd never seen poverty like that in my entire life. And we worked and we built a home for a very, very, very poor family. And I remember coming home the next day and walking into Target. And when you first walk into Target, it's like, a feast for the eyes of everything you could ever want in your whole life. And I broke down into tears because I was so overwhelmed by the volume of abundance in the United States. And I cried for many days, but it was the same kind of realization coming home from this trip. What the Medina taught us and what we saw was the artisanship and the handicrafts that were there. And you're seeing these people and they're embroidering, like Joanne's jacket. Okay, we went to a beautiful caftan shop, and we worked with the owner, who was the designer of every piece, and these ladies, and she had this totally altered in a day to fit her body.
I don't know if you can see just the detail. This is all I mean, the detail on this thing is unbelievable.
I should have worn mine. I wasn't thinking, but I am wearing my ring that I purchased at an antique shop. But to see the shoes, they're there with their thread and needle and cutting out the leather. All the Moroccan poofs that everybody buys these days as footstools in their family rooms. They were making them right there,
pieces,
and
sewing them right on there.
Yep. And to see the light fixtures, the iron guys, and the big loaves of bread being on these big pallets, being put into these archaic ovens, and it just reminds me of the disgusting, disposable, cheap quick fix desire and economy that we have in the United States. And I mean, this is a jacket that Joanne will have her entire life. It's made to last forever. And that's called sustainability, right?
Yeah.
So,
and just the appreciation for the arts and how these things are handmade, and the passion that the handicraft people feel when they're
Mhm.
doing it.
Mhm.
It's not, it's just, I don't even know how to describe it.
And you know what's interesting? Did you notice this? A lot of the guys in the Medina were young.
Yeah.
And so, you know how in the United States, or well, in many countries, the old time crafts aren't being handed down to the younger generation because they don't want to do it anymore. But it wasn't the case there. There were a lot of young men I saw, especially working on the leather and the metal
And they looked
and the
happy.
woodworking.
They were smiling
were
while they were
really
doing it,
friendly.
talking to each other. And it's just their lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And getting such reward out of doing something with your hands.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
we bought some art. Jen, we had designed her home in Kiowa, South Carolina a couple years ago, and she was always missing one light fixture in this really special powder room she had. So she bought this gold brass ball light fixture pendant that was like filigree, all beautifully carved, that is going to just shine up her ceiling in the most beautiful pattern, and everything there can be shipped, no problem.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like,
and those are the kinds of things when we talk about sometimes when we go to people's homes and we don't see anything of any personal interest.
Exactly.
So that's the thing about traveling. I mean, you know, you're only there for a short time. We were in Marrakech for 4 or 5 days, but what we brought back and you know, the things that we see, for example, she'll go into that powder room and that will just bring her back to the day that we were in the Medina and she talked to the man and he brought it in the back room so she could see what the light was going to look like. Those are the kinds I think that make your home special.
And we negotiated hard on the price.
Yeah, there's a lot of negotiating that goes on.
Thank you, Habib, for helping us. But we did a lot of negotiating, but we bought art. We bought some
what about well, it's not a pharmacy, it's a herborist or something. So
anyway,
you walk in and there's jars of spices and remedies and
natural
all kinds of stuff. And then there's a guy there who explains everything to you. So we've got some argan oil, some cactus oil, all these different things
spices for ailments,
like home remedies and stuff. That was really a fun thing to do.
Yeah, he gave us a personal backroom tour of the pharmacy. We came back with bags full of products. So it was just amazing. So I hope you enjoyed our reminiscing of our magical bucket list
the
trip.
reason we decided to go is because we were exposed to it by so many other designers.
Yes,
it's
true.
Like a designer. So Jen, who went with us, who is not a designer, she's like, well, I'll go wherever you guys will go. But she said, I never would have ever thought of Marrakech. So for those of you that would never have thought of that, think about it, check it out, because it's probably one of my favorite trips to date.
Yes.
To
date. And you know, and you're probably going, oh, well, those girls can afford to go on a trip like that. You know, I can't do that. Okay. Pick a place, no matter where it is, get away and expose yourself to something that you've never seen before, no matter where it is. And it'll change your life. So that's what we want to teach you today. Yep. So yeah. All right. Quotes.
Okay.
The funny one. This doesn't have anything to do with today's show, but I read it on the plane home and I laughed out loud. Remember, you're never too poor to tell telemarketers you can't talk because lunch is being served on the veranda. They don't know. And that's from Paige Kellerman on Instagram. She's hilarious. She's got good quotes.
Yeah, she's got great quotes. So this is interesting. Winston Churchill. The quote is, Marrakech is simply the best place on earth to spend an afternoon. To spend more than an afternoon.
Yeah.
I think 5 days in Marrakech was enough, but you know, there's
still so much more that we could do, and it is one of those places I will go back. So we will be calling Habib, and
I never in my life thought I would ever travel to Africa.
No.
I mean, it just was never anything I ever thought of it. I don't think most people do. So check it out. Check it out. And thank you, God, to Wanderlust Travel Consultants, Kelly O'Shea, like I said, who we had on before. She made everything just very seamless with transfers and all that kind of stuff. So,
and Habib, we love you, and we hope we see you again, and all of our friends in Marrakech. And it's not the end for us.
Yeah. So Announcements. Well, first, let's thank Norwalk
Yes.
Furniture for
Love you
sponsoring this
guys.
podcast. We're very excited to see them
In High Point.
in High Point in April. Our tour, our Insiders Tour, has just been filled.
Sorry, guys.
I don't know if they might have a waiting list in case someone backs out or whatever. Still check that out. If you've never been to High Point or have not been in a couple of markets, we will tour you around to some of our favorite places. It's a fun day.
Yep.
And
check us out, kandrac-kole.com.
Yeah.
We were recently published in Atlanta Home Magazine, a full 6-page spread, and that project is now on our website, so you can go check it out.
Yeah.
And if you live in Atlanta, that magazine will be on newsstands for the entire spring. So grab it, Atlanta Home Magazine, and our feature is right in the middle of the magazine. Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Join Joanne and Kelly for a new episode every other Friday as they continue to explore the nuances of the interior design business with the goal of informing, inspiring, and entertaining their listeners. See their work at kandrac-kole.com and engage with them on Facebook and Instagram at Kandrac Kole.